She made her choice. She picked someone else. And then she waited, comfortable in the assumption that the choice would produce the response it had always produced, the reach, the plea, the message that confirmed she still had you exactly where she thought you were. She waited for the chase, and the chase never came. And what happened in that silence, what the absence of your pursuit revealed about the entire dynamic, about her assumptions, about who you had quietly become, is what this entire video is about. Like and subscribe to Stoic Blessing. We show up every week for the man doing the hard work. Let's get into it. The first thing to understand is what her choice was actually communicating, beneath the surface of the decision itself, at the level of what it revealed about how she understood the dynamic between you. When someone makes a choice they know will hurt you, and makes it without apparent fear of losing you permanently, they are communicating something specific. Not necessarily cruelly, but clearly. They are communicating that your continued pursuit feels guaranteed to them, that the pain of losing you is not a price they are genuinely calculating because the losing does not feel real, that the option slot you have been occupying in her life has felt, from her side, like a permanent fixture rather than a genuine choice she needs to maintain. She chose another man because she did not believe, in any visceral or functional sense, that choosing him meant losing you. She believed you would chase. History had given her every reason to believe that. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of seeing the true structure of situations rather than the comfortable story. The comfortable story in this dynamic was that she valued the connection, but was going through something, was confused, needed time. The true structure was simpler and harder. She felt secure enough in your continued availability to make a choice that risked it. That is not confusion. That is a calculation, unconscious perhaps, but a calculation. And the man who sees that calculation clearly, without bitterness and without the defensive revision that turns her into a villain, is the man who can use that clarity to make a genuine decision about his own next move, rather than a reactive one driven by pain. Comment below, I see it clearly, if the truth of the dynamic finally landed harder than the hope you were holding on to. Here is what happened inside her psychology the moment the chase did not come. Because this is the mechanism that most men sense intuitively but rarely understand precisely enough to be free from organizing their behavior around. The absence of your pursuit did not just surprise her. It destabilized the entire model she had built of the situation, because the model required your pursuit as one of its load-bearing walls. Remove that wall, and the whole structure shifts. Every assumption she had been operating from, about where you stood, about how much she mattered to you, about the specific security of knowing you would always be there, suddenly required reassessment. Not because you said anything, because you did nothing, and the nothing was louder than anything you could have said. Epictetus taught about the difference between the impression and the reality, about the way human beings construct mental models of the people in their lives and then navigate by those models rather than by the people themselves. Her model of you included the certainty of your pursuit. When reality failed to match the model broke. And a broken model produces a specific, involuntary, impossible to talk yourself out of reassessment of what is actually true, not what she hoped was true, not what she had been operating as though were true, what is actually presently demonstrably true. The chase was not guaranteed. The availability was not unconditional. The man she thought she understood had a flaw below which he would not go. And that flaw, that specific, quiet, unannounced refusal to chase, communicated more about your worth and your self-respect than any conversation you could have initiated from pain. Comment below, my silence spoke, if not chasing, said everything your words never could have. Now the Stoic demand, the hardest and most important one. The not chasing cannot be a strategy. It cannot be a calculated silence designed to produce the reassessment you just read about and leverage it into a specific outcome. The moment not chasing becomes a tactic rather than a genuine expression of your values and your self-respect, it loses everything that made it powerful and becomes just another form of the same outcome-dependent behavior that the chase itself was. You are not free if you are not chasing but thinking about not chasing constantly. You are not healed if you are measuring your days by whether the reassessment has produced the reach you are waiting for. You are still organized around her, still dependent on her response, still performing, just performing detachment instead of performing availability. The Stoic alternative is genuinely not chasing because you have made a real decision about where your energy belongs. And that decision is not about her. It is about you. About the recognition that the hours of your life are real and finite and belong to you entirely, and that pouring them into the pursuit of someone who demonstrated, through her choice, that she was not valuing what you brought, is not love. It is self-abandonment dressed as devotion. Marcus Aurelius returned to this distinction constantly. The difference between action that comes from your values and action that comes from your fear. Not chasing because you value yourself is a completely different internal experience from not chasing because you are hoping the not chasing will produce a specific response. One is freedom, the other is just a more sophisticated cage. Choose the freedom, genuinely, not as performance, as a real daily decision about what your life is for. Comment below, I chose me, not the outcome. If the decision to stop chasing came from your values and not from strategy, let's talk about what the choice she made actually cost you. And doing this accounting honestly is one of the most important and most avoided parts of genuinely moving through this experience. Because there is a temptation, especially in the early period following a loss like this, to minimize what was lost in order to make the moving on feel more manageable. To tell yourself it was not that significant, that you had already been pulling back, that you were almost done anyway. This minimization is understandable. It is also dishonest. And the Stoics were not fans of comfortable dishonesty, not because they were harsh, but because they understood that genuine healing requires genuine acknowledgement. Something real was lost. The specific hope you had invested in this connection, the version of the future that included her, the specific warmth that was real, even if the dynamic was not sustainable. These were real things. They deserve to be acknowledged as real losses before they can be genuinely released. Seneca wrote about grief with a tenderness that surprises people who expect Stoicism to be cold and dismissive of feeling. He wrote that the man who does not allow himself to grieve genuinely does not actually get past the grief. He just relocates it, buries it under productivity and performance, and carries it as a low-grade weight that affects everything without being acknowledged as the source. The Stoic instruction is not to not feel. It is to feel completely and then choose deliberately. Feel the loss fully. Acknowledge what was real and what was genuinely worth grieving. And then, having given the loss its honest weight, make the choice to invest that weight into building rather than into the carrying of something that cannot be changed. That sequence, acknowledge, feel, choose, is the Stoic grief process. And the man who goes through it honestly rather than skipping to the performing fine stage is the man who actually comes out the other side genuinely free rather than temporarily functional. Comment below, I grieve it and I grow from it, if you've given yourself permission to feel the loss fully before you build through it. Here is what the not chasing built in you, because this is the piece that gets lost when the focus stays on her response and what she did or did not do with your silence. Every day you did not chase was a day you kept a promise to yourself. A specific, difficult, countercultural promise. The promise that your self-respect was not for sale, that the pain of the loss was not sufficient leverage to make you abandon your own ground, that the version of yourself that chased at any cost was no longer the version you were willing to be. Those days accumulated, and what they accumulated into was not just the absence of the chase, it was the presence of something genuinely new, a relationship with yourself built on the specific earned foundation of having been tested and having held. That kind of self-knowledge, the bone-level knowledge of your own reliability to yourself, does not come from comfortable circumstances. It comes from exactly the kind of pressure this experience put on you, and it is worth more than any outcome her choice could have produced. Epictetus taught that the only genuine victory available to a human being is the victory over their own worse impulses, the daily, imperfect, real choosing of their better self over the easier, cheaper, more immediately relieving alternative. Not chasing when chasing would have felt better in the short term is exactly that victory. And the man who wins that victory, who chooses himself over the temporary relief of the chase, discovers something about himself that no relationship outcome could have given him. He discovers that he is someone who keeps promises to himself when it is hard, not just when it is easy, not just when it costs nothing, when it costs something real. That discovery is not a consolation prize for not getting the outcome he wanted. It is the actual prize, the one the Stoics were pointing toward all along, the one that makes every future relationship different, because the man who enters it is genuinely different. Comment below, I kept my promise to myself if holding the line when it was hard showed you something about yourself you needed to know. Let's address the arrival of her reach, because it comes in many forms, and every man who genuinely does not chase eventually encounters some version of it. Sometimes it is direct and honest, a genuine acknowledgement of what she did and a real expression of wanting to reconsider. Sometimes it is casual and low investment, a meme, a memory, the thin opening of a door to see whether the not chasing was real or performative. Sometimes it is indirect, the story viewed at a specific time, the like that is just deliberate enough to be noticeable, the reappearance in spaces where she knows you are present. Whatever form it takes, the arrival of her reach is not the moment to abandon everything the not chasing built. It is the moment to use it, to bring the specific, grounded, genuinely self-possessed version of yourself that the work produced into the conversation, and let that version, not the desperate, hopeful, relieved version that the old dynamic would have produced, determine what happens next. The Stoic question in this moment is not, is she back? It is, what is she actually offering, and does it reflect the genuine change in dynamic that would make re-engagement worth the investment? Because a reach that comes from discomfort, from the specific discomfort of losing access to something she had been taking for granted, is not the same as a reach that comes from genuine recognition and genuine willingness to show up differently. The first is the option dynamic attempting to reassert itself under the cover of a softer approach. The second is something worth exploring with open eyes and real engagement. The man who has done the work knows the difference, not perfectly, not without the occasional confusion of hope with clarity, but fundamentally in the way that matters. He has done enough honest accounting of the previous dynamic to recognize when what is being offered is genuinely new versus when it is the old structure in new packaging. Comment below. I only re-engage on real terms if you've decided that her reaching back is only the beginning of a conversation, not the end of one. Here is the honest Stoic accounting of what not chasing her cost you in the short term, because there is a cost, and pretending there isn't is the kind of comfortable dishonesty the Stoics had no patience for. Not chasing cost you the temporary relief of the reach, the brief, warm, immediately regretted relief of sending the message that might have brought her back to some version of the previous dynamic. It cost you the specific comfort of being in contact with someone whose presence, however complicated, was familiar and therefore felt safer than the unfamiliar territory of her genuine absence. It cost you the particular anesthesia of hope, the low-grade, persistent, quietly consuming hope that keeping the line of communication open always provides. These are real costs. The not chasing was not free, and the man who acknowledges what it cost, rather than minimizing the loss to make the choice feel easier in retrospect, is the man who has the clearest understanding of what the choice was actually worth. What the not chasing was worth is this: it was worth the discovery that you could survive the cost, that the relief you did not take was survivable without taking it, that the comfort you did not reach for did not in its absence destroy you, that your sense of self, battered perhaps, grieving certainly, but fundamentally intact, did not require her continued presence to remain functional. That knowledge, survivable without her, okay, without the reach, intact without the validation, is the specific, non-transferable, earned through living knowledge that changes everything about how you move forward, not just in this situation, in every situation. Because the man who has proven to himself that he can survive the hardest version of not chasing is the man who never again needs to ask himself whether he could. He knows, and that knowing is the quiet, certain, unshakable foundation on which everything the Stoics were pointing toward is built. Comment below, "I survived not reaching and I'm still standing," if the cost of not chasing turned out to be something you could carry. The last thing, the thing that pulls every thread of this video into the single most important understanding you can take from it. She chose another man thinking you would chase. You did not chase. And that single decision, made in pain, made without certainty, made against every short-term instinct and in service of a longer-term truth, changed the entire story. Not just the story of the dynamic between you, the story of who you are. Because the man who does not chase when chasing would have been easier, who holds his own ground in the specific, quiet, unglamorous way of simply refusing to abandon it, is a different man from the one who would have chased. Not better in the abstract, different in the specific way that matters most. He has demonstrated to himself, through the only method that produces genuine rather than performed certainty, that his self-respect is real, not aspirational, real, demonstrated under pressure, verified through action. The kind of real that cannot be argued away or talked out of because it is not a belief, it is a fact that he lived into one difficult, unchased day at a time. That man, the one who did not chase, who survived the not chasing, who built something genuine in the silence that her choice left behind, is not available to be filed away as an option. Not because he has made himself artificially scarce or strategically unavailable, because he is genuinely, fully, completely elsewhere, in his own life, building his own thing, becoming his own man. And the next person who encounters him will encounter someone who knows, quietly, certainly, without needing anyone to confirm it, exactly what he is worth. Not because she told him, because he showed himself. And a man who has shown himself his own worth through the fire of not chasing when chasing would have been easier, that man is the whole point of everything Stoic philosophy was always building toward. Like and subscribe to Stoic blessing. Stay grounded, stay whole, stay unbreakable.